Hello and welcome to the SciFirst MovieTalk episode. So in this episode I'm discussing the 1991 cult action crime movie Point Break, as directed by Kathryn Bigelow. Now, before I get started with this review, I just wanted to give a big shout out to Docs Pop Reviews, who requested this review a little while ago. Docs Pop Reviews is a YouTuber offering some fantastical insight into some of the best Funko Pops around, and indeed some amazing suggestions for some they really should be thinking of releasing. So, if you do have a chance, do check out their channel. I will leave a link to a Docs Pop Reviews episode at the end of this review, and will also place a link to their channel in the video description below. Now, Point Break features Keanu Reeves as Johnny Utah, a former All-State quarterback turned rookie FBI agent, who joins an FBI special task force for bank crime, and is teamed with seasoned agent Angelo Papas, as played by Gary Busey, in order to track and take down a band of elusive bank robbers known as the ex-presidents, so nicknamed due to their unusual disguises and criminal personas, taking on the identity of four former US presidents: Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter, Richard Nixon, and Lyndon B. Johnson. Due to the way that the team operates and the thieves kind of work around what they do, the way they move and how they act, Papas suspects them to be surfers, and so then, in a bid to infiltrate the gang, Utah goes undercover, looking to become a surfer himself, feeling out the local surfing community for leads as to the true identities of the ex-presidents. However, Utah soon falls in with the adrenaline junkie and surfer Bodie, as played by Patrick Swayze, who takes more than an interest in showing Utah the true meaning of what surfing is all about. And soon, it is clear that Utah is heading deeper into this world, finding himself ever more drawn to the adrenaline-soaked lifestyle, enamoured of Bodie and his philosophies, building an ever more complex relationship that just might prove to threaten the entire investigation. Now, Point Break is a movie that I am ashamed to say that somehow has slipped my radar over the years. I had thought that I had must have caught it at some point, but indeed no. After watching, nothing rang a bell at all. And I mean, how on earth have I missed this? It has that early kind of 90s charm that's still reminiscent of the kind of late 80s, yet striving to break free into the new decade, with plenty of its own charisma and very much on point for the time. Even, I would say, especially given kind of the clean-cut cinematography that we have, very much ahead of its time. Still looking very sleek and superbly presented, almost like it hasn't aged a day. For me, probably not being kind of much into sports and thinking that all this film was about was surfing, I think I'd kind of subconsciously kind of biased the movie as a sports flick, not kind of really realising that it was still a crime drama at heart, you know, with surfing becoming kind of like a focal point for the character's motivation and involvement in the overall story. And I can honestly say that by the end of the movie, although surfing is an integral part of the plot, even for somebody like myself who rarely even goes paddling in the sea, there is a distinct draw and avidity that kind of stems from this movie that's hard to ignore, becoming such an immersive and even cohesive experience. And although I probably won't even, it does kind of make you feel like getting out there and kind of hitting a few waves yourself. We have some kind of pretty rough seas around us, you know, sometimes. Can't say I've ever really seen too many surfers out there, but I must admit that it's always kind of fixating and hypnotic almost to kind of stand and watch those gigantic waves wash up and pound the side of the coastline. And I think that's what this film captures. The kind of pull and absorbing disengagement with reality that the sea and the raw nature, the raw force of it can kind of offer. The cinematography is simply spectacular, and at times making exceptional use of some slow motion capture and up close and personal shots of the waves, which are totally engrossing. Some of the effects and captures are absolutely pristine. Okay, so some may not have kind of fared too well over time, but those of the surf and how connected everything felt were simply amazing and were absolutely captivating. I mean, to put it quite simply, some of the scenes would look absolutely amazing in IMAX if it hasn't been done already. The way that they have been filmed and presented lends itself to such grandeur and indeed would be a truly immersive experience. I would say that I did find the actual crime elements of the movie themselves not to be that too much to write home about. You know, most had kind of been seen before, and, you know, the focus kind of shifts kind of sporadically back and forth to those moments. But then at the end of the day, that's not really what the film is trying to accomplish. It's more about the character arcs that, you know, that happen, especially Johnny's, and their journey and how they kind of feed into and accentuate the relationships around them. How they seek that, you know, that ultimate thrill ride of adventure, living life to its fullest with no regard for consequence. What it does have, apart from its adrenaline-fused moments, is a kind of real kind of understated and often overlooked comedy. All quite serious in tone, really, but very much anti-establishment. But there are plenty of moments that more than make you smile. I mean, the idea of a bunch of ex-presidents robbing a bank is comedy gold in itself, and simply the swagger and the bravado they have, taking on the president's personas, so to speak, and with that some of the kind of the banter between the crew feeding off this is totally on point. And as with all politics across the ages, still very relevant and tonally quite different, you know? And furthermore, there are some brilliantly fast, off-the-cuff comments and interactions at the bureaucratic kind of level, you know? Especially with Busey, who plays the more seasoned and experienced agent perfectly, bringing a sort of kind of flustered style to the role, which kind of sat somewhere in between rebellion and conformity. Indeed, the chemistry on screen is quite electric as it stands, particularly between Reeves and Swayze, whose relationship develops in quite deviating and interesting ways. The dynamic that does present itself as the story progresses is savoured and put to the test as Johnny finds himself drawn more and more into the euphoria felt from pushing his limits and the rush of adrenaline that prevails. Absolutely intoxicating, all the time at odds against his job in the FBI, which makes for this delectable kind of counterweight, each pulling Johnny in separate directions. Reeves, of course, brings everything he has to the role, as he often does, showing once again that he had and has quite the adaptable range, giving a very eager, yet also tempered performance, and then all or nothing when called for, with an overall speed and delivery of the story, and indeed his character's own arc. Overall, whilst I thought that some of the crime elements of the story were somewhat tried and tested, the overall presentation and delivery of the movie, especially the characters and the cinematography, were totally on point, yielding an early 90s movie that felt invested and emotive with regards to its core themes and ideology. It was very much like watching the 2001 movie The Fast and the Furious play out on a surfboard, and indeed, I had heard people say that just that very thing. But for a few different plot choices, these could have been the same movie. And here was me thinking that Fast and the Furious was being original. There are some brilliantly energetic and orchestrated chase sequences, and some of the shots, especially of the surf, were simply provocative at times, making it easy not only for the film's characters, but also for ourselves as the audience to get lost in the thrill and the moment of it all. So, that brings me to the end of this episode. Many thanks for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please leave a like. Please do hit that subscribe button for more movie reviews, trailer reactions, and other movie-related content. Absolutely loved having you here at SciFirst MovieTalk, and definitely love to have you back. Most of all, just thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.